Hey gang, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you the process that I use to print larger sublimation prints when my printer only goes up to 8.5 by 14. This is a design that I created. I will link my Etsy below. There's also a dad and a mini version because 4th of July, we're doing matching sets. So first thing that I do is I go to view and then show design page settings. That will bring up this page setup window. I change the media size to custom and do 15 by 15 because that is how big my heat press is. I already have my design sized out. It is roughly 14 by 13. I could go a little bit bigger if I wanted to, but we're going to stick with this. So now that I have it sized out, I also have show print border selected. So it's going to show me the page as to where my image is going to be when I print it. So you can switch yours to portrait or landscape. Just for this design, I'm doing landscape. You can also go to file and then print page setup, and it will bring up this window. I always do either 8.5 by 14 or 8.5 by 11. In this case, it's 8.5 by 14, and then you can change the orientation here as well. So now that I have this ready, what I'm going to do is we're going to print this first page. Alright, so now I can see the only thing that's going to be cut off is this bottom, which is fine. We're going to slice them together once they print out. So I would hit print. On this first page, cancel. I'm going to choose my printer and then my preferences. I've been testing out a lot of different methods. There's more in here, but I wasn't naming them. So I will show you my settings. This is just what I do. This is what works for me. I've been having issues with it putting out too much ink and smearing. Not necessarily it going too fast and not drying, but it's just I'm getting ink splotches throughout it. And I already have mirror image on set to my printer, so that's why I do not have to mirror it in Silhouette Studio. So now we're going to click print. Alright, now that that first page is printed, we're going to print the second page. We've already got our image selected. We're going to go to this arrow. We're going to move it 8 inches, so you can click and drag this to where you need it to go. I do 8 because that way it gives me a little bit of a overlap when I print the pages out, so it's easier to line them up on. So now we're going to move it up in this case. If you were doing a portrait, you would move it over. So now we click this arrow and it moves it up perfectly. I don't have to try and make sure it's perfectly aligned on the page. So same as before, we're going to go to file and then print. And I'm going to do same exact as I did before. I always just double check that the right one is selected. And then we would hit print. Welcome to the voiceover. So you're going to cut one of your edges. That way you can line these up perfectly and you're not going to have any extra white or anything in there. I already cut the one edge, which is why I cut the other edge, just to show you how it's done. You'll line them up. Sometimes they'll give you a struggle and you'll have to sit there and wiggle them until you get them perfect. You'll then tape them. Yes, I'm using the wrong tape. Once I go downstairs to press them, you'll see I use the proper tape. I always cut my edges off because sometimes there's extra ink on there that you don't see until after you pressed it and it's too late. As you can see, this mama is going to, it's giving me some problems. Once I go to press these, you'll see that there is no seams, no lines. You can't tell that it was two different pieces of paper taped together. I highly recommend doing this if you want larger prints or if you have bigger shirts that you need to do. This works great. You can do more than 2 pages. This is just what I did for these. I did do an 8 by 8 page of my daughter as an Easter shirt, and it covered the whole shirt, but it was a struggle. I also need to learn how to bleach my squares better because that mini was not lined up. But definitely practice. Try it out on a few shirts before you actually start selling these. Sometimes you might have lines, but that just means you're using too much pressure.